thought that bringing us together would be a great way to see basically the dynamic of how you see life in the Pacific Northwest based on where you're from. You all coming from the South, I'm also from the South, and then of course you all are from the Pacific Northwest. So let's start with, I guess, the transplants. What was your initial thoughts when you arrived here in Seattle?
Arriving here, you see the area, it's beautiful, but then you don't see a lot of us, so it was something that was very glaringly obvious to us that it wasn't as many of us as we're used to seeing around.
I think it took a while to get used to it. So again, moving from the South and seeing us all day, every day, having to kind of shift our expectations and just shift our norm.
What do you feel when you hear Derek and Tanice's experience?
I always feel for transplants who are coming to Seattle looking for certain experiences when it comes to, Black culture, and I always feel bad. I'm like, oh, what can we do to make you stay? Don't leave. We need the numbers. And so I feel bad, but also it's unique for me when I've been to Baltimore, places like that, and gone through the grocery stores, and I only see Black people for aisles and aisles, like the cash register, the customer. I didn't realize how surprised I would be. I didn't realize how white this space is here in Seattle. But there's so much beauty here in other ways, right? Yeah, and the community that is here is strong. And so that's why we're small but mighty.
I would agree. I had the privilege of living in Alabama and going to a HBCU, and my family originates from the Carolinas. But I think the diversity that we have out here gives us the opportunity to be able to move in a lot of different rooms that a lot of people can't move in being Black because of seeing things differently. I could have stayed in the South and enjoyed what we have out there, but I think for people that don't have that opportunity, it's for us to bring it back to them and create that here. So, but I do miss the Carolinas, we don't have any Waffle Houses out here or any Checkers or anything, so those are places that I miss near and dear,
Ooh, so. My heart tingled when you said Waffle House.
Yeah, late night eats.
I will say, since moving out here, I feel like I've been very intentional about being Black. And it's confusing of what I'm saying, but I've never been in a situation where I haven't seen a lot of people who look like me. So I feel like now, a lot of people here are intentional about making those spaces. So why do you all think the Black community, even though it's small, I feel like it's very strong? A lot of people come together. And
it's not so much like that in other places I live, like East Coast and down South. I think because we kind of take it for granted, take for granted who we are and that we're showing up somewhere, and there's so many more of us, there's so many more spaces like what we have, and it's kind of part of the norm. Here we have to represent who we are, and we have to show, we're proud of this, and we're gonna be unapologetic about it.
I will say, as a person moving from the South, I feel like Western Washington, Seattle specifically, it's an area where you can have these conversations and people are receptive. People want to learn how to celebrate other cultures. So that's the cool thing about it. So when you think about that, what's something that you need from allies or something that you feel like you've received from allies here that you wouldn't necessarily get anywhere else?
Something that I get a lot of here, it's something that we just need to keep continuing here, is just listening. Sometimes the listening in those spaces is very powerful.
It's listening, but then acting on what you've learned once you have the opportunity. It's taking the time to listen, intricately thinking about those lessons, and when you have the opportunity to use it to be a voice for someone else in the Black community or to open up the door for someone else in the Black community, use the opportunity to do so.
Also, just believing us when we say something isn't right. Because someone who's not from this experience will never understand.
We have to make sure that if we are Black people doing stuff for Black people, that Black people are supporting that just as much as our so-called allies. It's not necessarily their job to do that. It's our job as a community to support our community just like others do. So I think it's very important that we make sure we help ourselves, and then if we set an example, then people will follow suit.